Hello, and welcome back to Elevate Within. I'm your host, Sandy Davis. If you're joining us for the first time, I'm so glad you're here. Elevate Within is for high achieving women and the messy middle, which is the space between who you were and who you're becoming. This is a space for honest conversations about reinvention, resilience, healing, leadership, and what it takes to really rebuild from the inside out. Today's episode is one I've been looking forward to because I'm introducing someone who will be a consistent presence in this space and throughout our summer series, which is The Architecture of Reinvention, the art of unbecoming. Claudia Cuevas is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's also an entrepreneur, advocate for high-achieving women, navigating burnout, identity shifts, and the pressure to hold everything together while quietly falling apart. Her path to this work was lived, not just studied, and I'm going to let her tell you that story herself. What I will say is this: Claudia understands the difference between looking strong and feeling strong, and that's exactly why she belongs here. Claudia, welcome to Elevate Within.
Hello, and I'm glad to be here and part of this journey.
Awesome. Claudia, let's start at the beginning. Tell us a little bit about your journey and the experience that led you to become the woman, the therapist, and the advocate you are today.
Let me start from my professional pitch, if you would say. I'm a first generation Mexican American woman. I have the experience that I've always wanted to be a therapist. This was always the plan since I was 12 years old. I have a little different experience. I left United States and lived in Mexico from sixth grade to my last year of high school. Came back, did my last year of high school here. That was a culture shock. Then went to junior college, went to San Diego State. I double majored in San Diego State with psychology and Spanish. Went out, started working. I worked for a lot of nonprofits. Immediately got into leadership positions in those. I was a manager, a supervisor, a director, and then remembered that I wanted to be a therapist and went back to get my master's degree. I did that in Pacific Oaks College in Pasadena. I did a specialization in Latino family studies and then went right into the workforce and was a director and, started working with a community and having teams under my belt.
Amazing. Let me ask you, Elevate Within is about the space between who we were and who we're becoming. Looking back, was there a moment when you realized an old version of yourself no longer fit? And if so, what did that transition look like for you?
And that's an interesting question. When I was working for the nonprofits after I finished my bachelor's degree and just was working and became a director and was just involved in fundraising and, in the community. I, at 30 years old, had ovarian cancer. And so I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And so for a lot of people, it feels very much like a sentence or a death sentence. And for me, my experience was, got it, Lord God.
Wow.
I got you. I need to slow down. I need to remember what I need to do. And that was the moment where I needed to go back to school. And so that was the transition that I did, that I think I finished chemo in like July. And by September, I was already enrolled in a class, starting my journey and getting my master's in order to become a marriage and family therapist.
So within that same year, like within a couple of months apart, you went through that?
Still didn't have hair in my head, and I was already sitting down taking classes.
Wow. Wow. And what was the drive behind that? Like,
I always knew what my purpose was and what I wanted to do. And for many women and not just me, but like I kind of got distracted, right? I kind of forgot who I was and I got enticed by the leadership and everything that I was doing and really helping the community. It was always this like, I need to put other people's needs first before my own
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I need to be successful and I need to do it. And so, you know, it's not the only time, I've been put on my back in order to remember what my journey is supposed to be. Um, but it was just clear. Like I remember getting the diagnosis and not feeling like that was the end, but feeling like that was the beginning.
Wow.
And just going
Wow.
like, "Okay, okay, okay, let's get through what we need to get through and like get me back to what I'm supposed to do."
Where did you get that drive from it? Was it, like, from your mom, your grandparents, like, just
Yeah.
inherited, like, or a life experience? Like, that's just amazing to hear, like, where do you think that strength came from?
So I am firstborn, first granddaughter, first to graduate college, first to get a
Mhm.
master's degree, first to get like a real quote unquote job. It I come from a matriarch, right?
Mm.
And it there is no question. It has to get done,
Right.
right? I'm
Right.
the one that has I'll tell you, because I'm the first granddaughter, I'm the first granddaughter from the firstborn grandmother, right? So like my grandmother is
Wow.
she's the firstborn from 12.
'Kay.
And so imagine, that transition. Everybody who's here in the United States is here because of my grandmother.
Amazing.
It's an inherited um like position that I was given. I didn't ask
Mhm.
for it. It was just expected of me. And
Wow.
everyone after me has a bachelor's degree, including my nephews.
Love it. That's amazing, and congratulations, and I'm very proud of you on that, like, seriously, and grandma, yes,
I know.
the
Yeah.
matriarch, the one that kinda, like, put the fist to the ground and paved the way, be like, "This is how it's gonna get done."
Yeah.
So now I see where you got that strength of
Yeah.
being diagnosed, going through the chemo, and then starting college, so that's absolutely amazing. Speaking of, strength, we often talk about high achieving women being the strong ones in everyone else's story. Has there ever been a time where you appeared strong on the outside while struggling internally? And what did you learn from that experience?
I think doing the work that I have been doing and being able to also process my own journey um, through therapy of my own. I have been a high achiever and in a leadership position since before I even knew I was. It is the unwritten rule that this is just our role. We,
Mhm.
as a first generation, as a person of color, like I've learned to navigate how to, get the lights turned on, going and translating for parents, when I was 5 years old in
Mm.
order to, at a restaurant, like there was no there was no other thing for me to do.
Right.
Um, like I didn't know that I was playing this role till I got, sick for the second time, by the way, right? Um, and so that became something where I had to really take a step back and understand this persona that I was living. I've now taken full ownership of who I am, right? But I've learned to
Mhm.
create a lot of boundaries around what I'm willing to sacrifice and not sacrifice now.
Right. So going back, because you say you were diagnosed twice. So if you don't mind, share what you feel is comfortable. Like, you were diagnosed with ovarian cancer, you're in college. I take it that you went into remission and then did it come back up or?
So not the cancer. So
Okay.
when I finished my degree, I was in a leadership position. Um, I was working for a lot of nonprofits. There's a lot of stuff. I ended up having to leave a very comfortable situation in the nonprofit world. I'm like, pull yourself up from your bootstraps, like just get it going, and entering into a different structure, which was the county.
Okay.
And it is a
And this is
whole
LA
different,
County?
no, Orange County,
Oh,
LA
Orange
County.
County.
I don't know if I would have survived.
Got it. Got it. Orange County. Yeah.
Orange
The
County,
bedroom community of LA.
yes. But it is a world of its own, and it's not that it's bad. It just did not align with who I was, and I had to discover that on my own. Because, for me, it was like nonprofit, it's all the same. I'm a leader. I can come in and I will take over, redo, put you on what you need to do, get us on track, and let's go. And
Hmm.
I found a lot of roadblocks in the way that I wanted to create leadership. I had come in with 10 years of leadership experience thinking I'm going to move up to be a service chief. And then, I'm just going to take over. Like,
Right. Right.
that's just what it was expected of me always. And in that process, I got a lot of roadblocks. I got a lot of rejection. I got a lot of pushback, and I slowly found myself in a deep depression that I did not even recognize or allow myself to even recognize. And because I pushed through the depression, I became physically sick again, which was I got pneumonia twice in one
Wow.
year.
Wow.
And so when I say like I've been put on my back in order for me to kind of realize,
Hmm.
and all that did was, oh, I'm supposed to have my own private practice. Like I'm supposed to be making decisions of how, when, who I service, what it is, right? And so again, it's not that, I mean, there's people that are retire at the county and they love it and they're there for 30 years and great, that's where they should be. It just did not align with who I am and what I wanted to accomplish for my life. And
What were
so
some of the blockages? Was it, I mean, and you can go high level, right? But
no, yeah.
was it because of being a woman of color, being Latina, being a strong Latina woman? Like, what were just some of the things? Because I know a lot of women go through this. I've been through it.
Mhm.
But just to give examples for those that may not know they're in it or something to look out for.
Women in leadership positions are it's already very there's a high discrepancy, right? So the statistically speaking, last year, I'll give you a little bit and I'll tell you what some of my roadblocks were. But like last year, just there was a report on like women in the workplace. 2025, there were I think 6 to 11% of women in corporate, which are like the S&P 500 kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing. It was 6 to 11% of women that held CEO positions. Okay.
Mm.
Guess how many women of color were?
What, like 2%?
Zero.
Wow. Yeah.
And this is like this is CEOs, right? This is like high level people are making their stuff. When we look into the nonprofit kind of thing, like it's the same. So yes, was it because I was Latina? No. Was it because I was real loud and I was going to force some things that weren't working and shouldn't be working? And it was evident that I was coming in to
Hot.
make some change. I was coming in
Yeah.
to make some changes. I did not fit into the infrastructure. I am not a person that's going to just go, oh, okay, yeah, oh, okay, what's the pro? No, I'm going to go like, no, no, why? That doesn't make sense. And so I did not fit into that type of environment.
Right. Because they were trying to
People,
shrink you.
well, they didn't know what to do with me, right? They didn't know how will I be able to fit into and go along with the structure. Like, some of the roadblocks were, I was approved to be already in the leadership, and I would get someone else. So someone that and I wasn't supervising because I was never able to get to a supervisor role at the county. But it was like,
Mm.
oh, you just started, you just graduated, you've been here for 6 months, and you're supervising an intern, and now you're my boss.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, okay, okay, fine.
Sounds
And
familiar. It
I was
sounds
like,
very
oh,
familiar.
oh, and oh, so you want me to train them
Hmm.
and show them how to be leaders?
And
We
be
would be,
docile.
I'd be, be, listen, I'm great at code switching, right? Like,
Yeah.
I can definitely put on and lower my voice and smile
Hmm.
when I talk. But that's only going to last for so long.
Right.
But
Right.
like, I would be in like groups of like supervision and everybody. And so then we would have a supervisor who had less experience than me. And they were asking, these are new therapists. I've been doing that for 10 years. Um, and so they would be like, oh, I'm having this trouble with this kid and stuff. And then, they'd ask the question, the supervisor would be like, oh, and everybody would turn around and look at me and be like, Claudia, can you tell us what to do? And I'd be like, that's not me. Like, don't look at me, guys. Right? Like, the boss is over there. And so,
Hmm.
it was constantly, if we're not allowed to take gifts, and if someone would come, a client would come in and be like, oh, I brought you a cookie. It would be like, she's not allowed, right? Don't take it. You're not allowed to take gifts. And I get it. There's a lot of liability. It's the county, it's taxpayer money. Like, there's an infrastructure in there
I
for a
didn't even know
reason.
that. Yeah, I had no idea about that. So you can't even get like baked goods.
Oh no. We didn't even have water. There was a drinking fountain that in the office that you can get water. If you wanted water, you pay for it because, again, it's taxpayer money. I completely understand. Like, you're not going to get anything for free because you're accountable to taxpayers, right?
Hmm.
So there was a drinking fountain. You can fill up your water there or bring your own. But like, and it's like, okay, okay, I get it. I don't expect to get coffee, and like, forget, we didn't get water, let alone, coffee.
Hmm. Right.
So those are the things that, it was just like, I would have been like, this doesn't make sense. Like, okay, we can do this a little different. Like, you can relax a little bit. I'm not going to come in to redo an infrastructure that's been in place for such a long time.
So, and you were with the county for how long?
6 years.
6 years. So
Six for
when
like 3 of them.
that's what I was gonna ask you,
Yeah.
like, when did you first notice like, hey, this is the signs of burnout and you're not allowed to be your authentic self. You're not allowed to be the leader that you naturally are, right? Given your upbringing.
I
So
mean, yeah,
3 years, like, and then was it after year 6 that you caught pneumonia and you decided
the last
to?
year. Last year that I was there, in the
Mhm.
summer, I caught pneumonia. And it was, and so the plan started, how do I get out of here, right? Like, what do I need to do in order to get out of there? And so that was my journey of entrepreneurship, where I started thinking, I got to cover whatever the bills are. I need
Mhm.
to save some money. Bare minimum, right? Like, got to pay the mortgage, got to pay certain bills. We'll cut everything else if I need to. And then really delve into what is it like to have your own business and become a private practice therapist, and like, being in some of these, for me, right, being in this kind of job, it's like, they call it the golden handcuff, right? There's this. a parent of literally when I was like, I'm on my way out. I'm preparing myself to get out. I'm getting on panels and I'm getting on insurance panel, like whatever I need to do. I'm like, pay me $10 to do therapy. I don't care, like whatever it takes, right? Um,
Yeah.
but everybody would be like, how can you leave? How can you leave? Right.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when we talk about burnout, how it manifested and how I've seen that it manifests in high achieving women is it's typically physical,
Mhm.
right? So our back goes out. We have a lot of gut issues.
Mhm.
There's a lot of headaches. There's a lot of drinking, binge eating, right? Like self-soothing kind of things. There's a lot of shopping going on.
I'm checking all those boxes so far, but
It is, mhm. There's a lot of isolation.
Mhm.
There's a lot of streaming, high intensity. Like we're really looking at like, I mean, those kind of shows that are like documentaries of like snapped and so killed so and mystery
True
murder,
crimes,
true crime,
taking
right?
notes. No, I'm just kidding. Just taking notes.
It's typically not, oh, I'm depressed. It eventually gets there where your body, you learn how to cope and ignore a lot of like the body signs that happen. And
Mhm.
then you just end up you either end up at the hospital, you end up at urgent care talking about like, I think I'm having a heart attack
Yep.
and your blood pressure's fine, everything's fine. And you're like, no, I really, I feel like I'm having a heart attack. And they're like, and then the doctor's like, you need to go talk to a therapist.
Yeah.
And reluctantly, I get them in my office, reluctantly, right? Because it's like, I don't, and they still don't believe it's what it is when they're sitting here in front of me.
True. I know I've gone through that where I thought I was having a heart attack in the middle of Stater Brothers, and I was in Ontario, and and I lived in Orange County. I was in one of my offices, and I was like, "Oh, I'm about to die." Getting orange juice, and some snacks for the office, and it scared the hell out of me,
Uh-huh.
where I called my doctor and let him know, like, "Hey, I'm about to have a heart attack, but I don't wanna be in Ontario. I wanna go back to Orange County, or what can I do to get me from there to Orange County?" And he was
Can
just
I
like,
make
"Take
it?
an aspirin." They told me to take an aspirin and call him in an hour. I was like, "Oh, this is horrible. This is horrible." So I get what you're saying. So you launch your practice
Uh-huh.
and you're thinking like most entrepreneur women is like, hey, what do I have to do to just pay the bills, pay the mortgage for right now, get comfortable with this before I scale up. So going back there, are you alone, are you married, do you have children? Like, was this like a collective decision, or was something where it's like, this is something Claudia has to do?
Definitely, I'm married. I've been married for 18 years. And yes, my husband was on board I mean, he would see me come home, just sleep and not have the energy or not be myself. And so he's like, whatever you
Mm,
need, like, this is always the plan. Whatever you need to do, we'll figure it out. We'll like cut we'll
yeah.
cut Netflix and everything else we need to cut. Like, what's the bare minimum? Can I get a second job? And I'm like, don't need you to get a second job. We're going to figure this out. Right. Like, just help me just say, and that's about it because family, no, 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 no.
How
Uh,
so?
Well, unfortunately, my mom was like, you can't leave. How are you going to pay? Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to pay your bills? Like,
Mhm.
my mom cleans houses or she did. And so it was like, you have to have, work. You can't just not work.
Right.
You have to, you can't like, you should never leave a job without having another job.
Mhm.
And so it was like, thank you. I understand, but I'm going to do it anyways. Right. And so, yeah, they weren't really aware. I mean, my mom still today, after, all this time that I've been here, is like, how many clients did you have today? And I was like, oh, I don't work on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays.
Yeah.
How? And I was like, because I get to choose, right? Like, and so it doesn't make sense, right? Because working hard has been something that has been ingrained in my culture as someone of color. Like,
Mhm.
you work hard, and you don't say anything, and you just work hard till you can retire, and and then you work a little bit.
Right. Right. Yeah. My mom used to tell me when I was little for years, and my mom's Italian and Puerto Rican. My mom used to always tell me, Sandy, you have two strikes against you. One, you're a woman, and two, you're black. She was like, so you're going to have to work harder than everybody else.
Mhm.
And that's just the standard, right?
Uh-huh.
So this is a woman, she was born in the 50s. So she was already conditioned of how to be. And then having our mothers or our grandmothers then pass that torch of like, here's the condition, here's how you have to be, this is what you have to do. There's no such thing as saying like, you can be whatever you want. You could be an entrepreneur, you could be a business owner. That was not the case, especially
Right.
for women of color. It was just like, no, you'll get a job. And
Uh-huh.
it's like, whether it's corporate America, working for the city, the county, those are the main buckets. Those are the main buckets. And when you step out, family is like, oh, you must be out your mind. But I
Uh-huh.
love the fact that your husband was supportive
Uh-huh.
of, saying like, yeah, you need to get out of there, and, stepping in and saying like, I'll help if I have to take a second job, which, I don't know if many women can always have that support. So that's
Totally.
wonderful
Totally.
that you have that. And now I understand why you've been married for so long. So that's that's
Listen,
great to have
I
that
didn't do it
support.
the traditional way, right? Like, when I tell you I'm the first at a lot of things, I was also like not the first. I was not pregnant when I was 20 and 15 or anything like that. I didn't get married till I was 34, which
Wow.
I was already like, what are you like? Why? And because I was very so career oriented, and it was like,
Mhm.
I don't want the road through my journey. You don't know how many times I would say to myself, I should have just got pregnant. I should have just I should have just got pregnant. I just, because there was nobody who did it for me, right? Like, the road that was paved for me was get get married, get pregnant, have your kids, do the thing, you get respect. People think you're
Mhm.
an full adult, like, that's what it is. And so, of course, I was like, no, 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 don't do that. That's harder. I 100%, I want to be really
Yeah.
clear. That is hard. I'm not saying it's
Yes.
easy, right? It is
Yes.
very hard, and my hat's off to everybody who went that route, right? Like, good, no, but I knew what to expect. I
Mm.
knew what it meant, and I knew it was like taking him here and go there and go to my mom's house, and I was just like, that just feels so much easier because I already know what that looks like. I didn't know what going to school was, navigating financial aid, leaving my home, going and
Mhm.
living in the dorms or living in my own, like, I didn't know. Nobody had done it before. I didn't know what that was.
Wow.
And so that was, also doing it differently. And so it was kind of like, you just got to figure it out. Just got to figure it out for yourself. But speaking of like money and wages, like, still to this day, there's a wage gap when it comes to women and men. Like,
Yes.
women of color make 64 cents on the dollar of any man still to this day. So I mean, there's not much difference between, you know, what we're expected to do and how much harder we're expected to be and how much more we achieve. And so, when I say like, I'm the first that went to college and I have a two degrees and a master's, it, I not only do it because I'm not trying to brag, but like,
It's a
That's
big accomplishment.
but that's how much I need to do in order to be taken serious in any type of space that I have to go and present
True.
myself,
Right. Right.
you know? Not only as a woman, but a woman of color.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I need this whole validation in order for someone to go like, ah, okay, yes, I understand. And I think that that's true for any woman, and especially in corporate and high level and high achieving. Like, you know, they come in with. I have women sitting down in my office going like, I don't know if I can change jobs. I've only been here for 2 years and da da da. I'm like, no one would ever expect a man to stay for 2 years and then ask for a raise.
Right. Yeah. It's a different lane for men as opposed to women. I mean, and I've lived through it. I've been through that. When you do earn what you're worth, then the company almost makes it feel like, well, we're doing you a favor.
Yep.
Or you can have the salary, but we have to minimize your bonus.
Yep.
Or we're going to pay you, but now we need to add more additional roles
How do
and
we
tasks.
squeeze more out of you?
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, hey, we're going to pile this on. And it's always a thank you for doing the heavy lifting as, they are out on their Fridays, whether they're golfing, they're shopping, they're doing whatever. And, you would see, especially women of color or for myself, where it's like, yeah, you still in the office, still, doing all of this work, this task. You're going home, you're still thinking about work, you're still sending out emails, weekends, and the counterparts that are breezing through. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not discrediting those that don't work hard, but it's like, but you're still breezing through and you're able to come home and not have to look at your phone, check your emails, so on and so forth. But as women, we do.
Yeah. And the reality is like in this study that I was telling you, it's called Women in the Workplace.
Hmm.
They found that 6 in 10 senior level women report more frequent burnout than their male counterpart
Wow.
because there's so much more required from them, right? And women are leaving these corporate high level jobs, not because they're not ambitious, not because they don't like the money, but because they're really looking and trying to see is the level of burnout and there's unspoken tax that women have in order to be at those level. Is it worth my health, my
Yep.
family? Like, is it worth it? Right. And so we're seeing a lot of entrepreneurship, right? We're seeing like a lot of women going and doing it on their own so that they can actually find balance in their life. Because that's much more important.
When do you think that shift took place? Do you think it was like right before COVID, during COVID, post?
I'm going to tell you, work life balance with COVID made it much more apparent that if these corporate jobs don't become a little bit more flexible, w-
Hmm.
being able to because we're multitaskers,
Yeah.
right? We just
Yeah.
are naturally, right? Women are
Hmm.
naturally multitaskers, and so we see things in a spectrum. We do not see good and bad, right? We're so but that became so much more apparent that having the flexibility so that I can have much more work life balance became very apparent in COVID.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
letting me work hybrid or me being able to hop on and be at home so I can go pick up my kid and then come back and still be able to accomplish because the work gets done
You're right.
all the time, even after, like much more. And so this whole thing of like come back to work and be in the office, we're going to see a plethora of this like boom in entrepreneurship when it comes to women.
Hmm. I definitely do see it. And, there are so many women that are carrying careers or businesses, families, and have, those responsibilities while silently running on empty, right? So for women who may not understand is what does burnout actually look like?
Mhm.
for us to recognize it? And then what are some of the warning signs that women should pay attention to?
Yeah. So, absolutely. So we were talking about, like, we're having a lot more gut issues, right?
Mhm.
We're unable to really, like, our sleep score, it's not good, right?
The
Like,
body keeps score. It does.
yeah, so it more than anything else, it is a warning sign, right? For high achieving women, body is going to be the first warning signs, then the emotional stuff. Because we're just able to compartmentalize some of that stuff. We're able to stuff it away, not worry about it. It becomes a task. It becomes part of, the things that our to-do list just grows, right? And so
Mhm.
we're able to really kind of like stuff some of those feelings. Well, in order to be in any of these types of jobs, you need to keep your feelings in check. And so that skill doesn't become apparent when it comes to like depression and like anxiety and stuff like that. Those things translate to our body. So like I said,
Mhm.
our back goes out, a lot of gut issues, right? And so now we become like, oh, I'm gluten free and we're lactose
Yeah.
intolerant. And I'm
Yeah.
like, but are you? Like, or is it your body trying to tell you like, hey, this is not working out for us. There's no balance here.
Do you find so I started experiencing those issues probably mid 40s,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then by the time I turned 50, it was just a train wreck,
Mhm.
with having those panic attacks and stuff like that. Do you know if younger women are experiencing that like in their 20s and 30s, or is there like a certain age for women?
So definitely, if we're looking at the different generations, right? So 100%, what I am seeing now is that what I and you experienced in our 40s and now our 50s,
Mhm.
I am seeing that happen more in 30s.
Wow.
At our level, right? Because there's just that much more information now out there. And so there's a lot more access. There's language to some of the things
Mhm.
that we're feeling, right? And thank God for us that are, menopausal and 50s, like the amount of information that now is coming out to serve us that is going to trickle down to the younger generations. They're just picking up on that now. And
That's
so
awesome.
now it becomes so now what we're experiencing at the level that we're experiencing it now, I think 20s and 30s are seeing it at a much, I'm gonna say lighter level, but not for them. It's
Right,
probably,
right, right.
but there because there's language to it now, it's across the board, right? I don't think there's really a defined time. It really becomes about like when you're able to connect your mind and body.
Right, and I have heard of like, hey, if you're going through something, systematically, physically or emotionally, to identify it, name it, and then work on curing it.
Yep.
And I just started hearing that maybe a year ago,
Mhm.
where that type of language for us just didn't exist. There was
Yep.
no such thing as like identify like you stressed, you burnt out, like stop. Like,
Well, there's
you
an
could do this.
association of weakness with it.
Yep.
We're not allowed to be weak, right? That language doesn't exist for the younger generations. That's it's the you're right, like you're going through something. It's okay. Take a deep breath. Like take a break. Wha- Gap year, a gap year between high school and college. What? What?
Right.
What? What? Do I say that to my nephew? Yes. Take your time.
Mm,
They're now going into college, and I'm like, take your time. Go
mhm.
to the football games. Go join a club. Go abroad 1 year.
Right.
My brother told me yesterday, my niece just graduated yesterday and is going to transfer to Cal State Fullerton. And he's like, so how long do you think it's going to take her to get out of college? Like Cal State Fullerton. I'm like, as long as it takes her, I said.
Right.
Like 2 years, 3 years. And I said, well, she's gonna go study in Europe. So I don't know, three, but we'll see. I said,
Right.
and I didn't get that. I didn't get that type of support.
Yeah, a lot of
Mm,
us didn't. You
Yeah.
know, speaking of the burnout and then going back to your story, so you decide to start your practice, and this is where I also want to introduce our audience and women about the messy middle,
Uh-huh.
right? Where it's coming from, you know, our identities, what we were trained to be, how to be, to prepare ourselves for the world. Then we get into the workforce, and now we're stripped of what we were taught just to enter into the workforce, to then like change it to have different identities, you know, which made others feel safe, which made the companies feel safe, your manager, whatever, feel safe. Then we have that burnout,
Uh-huh.
right? And we're having the physical issues, the, you know, the health issues, mental issues. And then, you know, it's like, okay, I need to do something, you know, where it's like that reinvention or that transition. And going into entrepreneurship, where, as you said, like a lot of women are starting to do that, you know, especially because of the COVID situation, where it's like, hey, I can have a work life balance. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Now you launched your business, your practice. And one thing I realize is as high performing women, we don't talk about the messy middle. So we go
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I got burnt out. You know, I overcame my illness and then I started my practice. And today I have X amount of clients and life is good. And so I'm always curious as to the back it up to that messy middle, where
Uh-huh.
the peaks and the valleys, because I think we can learn a lot from each other and what we're going through, what our bodies and minds are going through. Um, just for those that are ready for that transition is like, hey, how do I know if I'm in the messy middle?
Uh,
And what do I do?
uh-huh. Mhm. I mean, really, the messy middle is transformational. It really is. It is the beginning of you going through this journey of transformation, right? So it's like it's the time that we question who we are,
Hmm.
we question our purpose, we question whether any of this is worth it, and what did I sacrifice when I sacrificed? And so being able to own the messy middle might be years, right? It might be an instant, it might be an event in our life. We get to kind of decide what that is for us, but we need
Hmm.
to go through that journey because it's what's going to get us to the other side. And so it's really about this, like you said, reinvention.
Right.
Because a lot of us don't know who we are. We've just been playing this role.
Hmm. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And for a lot of women, like, what is it for that messy middle? Or I would say for me personally, and then you can let me know if you felt the same way. I felt like I had to rush through it as
Uh-huh,
opposed to moving through it,
uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh,
Rushing through it is like, oh, this doesn't feel comfortable. This is new. I just got to get on the other side of this. Instead of moving with intention, we're slowly taking it in and, you know, learning ourselves again, you know, coming back to our true selves.
uh-huh.
You know, what was that like for you in building out your practice?
I mean, it really was, when I started off my practice, it became of like, I'll just take whatever, just whatever, right? Like come in, whatever it is. Um, Not because again, I was in this, I have to be successful and I need to be able
Mhm.
to, like, pay the bills and it just needs to have money and I just need to, like, feel a certain way. And then as I slowed down, I think the slowdown is, like, the hardest part because, again, we don't wanna feel what we're feeling. We
Mhm.
wanna we're wasting time, right? Because there's this time tax that we feel like somehow we're going to lose the opportunity or lose the time. And, I don't know, we're trying to skip between 20 and 60.
That's
There's,
inherited. We're have that time of like how much time it takes to get married. We're supposed to be married by now. We're supposed to have kids now. We're supposed to be successful. We're supposed to have our house. We're supposed to retire at this time. And we are always timing ourselves. That's such a great point. I didn't even think about that until you said that.
mhm. And so to, to be able to just float,
Mm.
right? In it. There's, it's a lake of messy. And I typically have people in my office when they're in that do an exercise where I have them close their eyes and imagine themselves, whatever that messy stuff is, whatever right now it is, right? Because then next week is going to be something different. And so if it's the kids and it's the expectations and the in-laws are going to come and I have to do an interview and I need to be able to like have so many sales or whatever, like whatever that looks like, right? I have them imagine a lake and it's all that mess. And then I
Mm.
imagine them face up, hands extended, and floating, just floating in it.
Love that. I'm picturing that for myself.
You just float in it. There's because we imagine tidal waves
Mhm.
that I gotta run from it. I have to run towards it. Gotta when the big wave comes in and you gotta like
Dive under. Yeah.
dive
Yeah.
under, right?
I learned that when I moved to Cali. They don't teach you that in New York.
No, like now you could tell that I'm like Southern California. I was like, that big wave, he's like, dive into it. But like that is that you just, and just to kind of like, there is no timeline. And then you
Mm.
can imagine yourself like, moving slowly through it. And it's gonna typically if you've ever floated, and I invite people to, go in a pool or, wherever they have a body of water, you end
Mhm.
up at the edge.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
end up at the edge. It'll bring you towards the shore, right?
Mhm.
And so just to be able to kind of like be okay at that moment and take one, I mean, this is going to be such a cliche, but like just one day at a time, right?
Mm.
One situation at a time. An emergency is, life or death. And if this is not life or death, then we can figure it out tomorrow and we'll put it back on our to-do list and we'll do it again kind of thing.
Right. So that floating once we're going through that messy middle, identifying, not rushing through it, but moving through it, and trusting that
Yep.
journey, then becomes the reinvention,
Right.
right?
How do we find
So,
alignment, right? What does that look like?
right.
So mind, body, soul.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. What is, I know for myself, I'm in that reinvention stage, right? And, I understand, coming from the messy middle, there's still a little bit there left, but not as much.
Hmm.
It is lonely. And
Hmm.
again, as we talked about, is very uncertain. What do you think people misunderstand most about the reinvention process?
But they have to know what the
Mm.
destination is.
Mm. Say that
And they're,
again. I tell folks that all the time. Say that again.
yeah, but they need to
Yeah,
know what the destination is and they're missing out in the most important part, which is the journey.
absolutely.
We just don't know where we're gonna end up, but we gotta get through the journey, right? And so I always imagine yourself like going up this mountain. And so there's these, getting to one of the like midpoints and not feeling good about what you just went through and just only focusing on like, I still got to go up there. And it's like, well, what if you just take a moment and just camp out right here and kind of look back and process what that is and what you've learned and everything that you've accumulated so that you have the strength to take on what the next journey is and where
Mhm.
you're going to end up.
Amazing. For someone currently navigating a major life change, whether that's grief, burnout, divorce, job loss, which has been a big deal this past year, entrepreneurship, or even identity shifts, what is one thing she can do this week to support herself emotionally?
Uh-huh. Shut it all down. Right? Like, what is it? Do you need to be by the beach? Do you need to go into nature? Do you need to hug a tree? How do
Mhm.
you reconnect with like your woman power? Who is that source? Like, what is that energy that drives you? You have to connect with it. And so it's always about like, put the stuff down, stop reading, stop doing more research, stop, looking more at LinkedIn, trying to find another job, trying to find another, shut it down and reconnect with nature.
Wow. Reconnect with nature. And why nature?
It's our mother source.
Mm.
Take your shoes on, ground yourself, reconnect with that energy.
Oh man, you reminded me. So I was talking to my best friend the other day, and she lost her mom 8 years ago. So she went to the gravesite for Mother's Day. And she gets in the car with her dad. And then she said something just told her, like, no, get back out, take your shoes off, and stand, at her mom's gravesite. And she says she took her shoes off. She's, walking on the grass and just stood there for a minute. She didn't understand why.
Hmm.
And when she was telling me this, and I was just like, yeah, that's pretty dope. Like, I have my mom's ashes here. So I'm like, yeah, I'll touch the urn, but I don't know why she would, feel compelled to take her shoes off,
Hmm.
to stand on the grass. And I think what you just said about like returning to nature, is that what you kind of mean? Because she said
Yeah.
she did feel some
Hmm.
peace for that moment.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, whichever way you want to look at it, right? Whether you want to look at it from a science kind of point of view, I mean, it's the Earth's gravity and the pull and all that, or if you want to look at it from much more esoteric or like, you know, um, this mind body thing, it's like it is the source, right? It's the beginning, and then it is the only thing we have in this earth that's perfection,
Mm,
right? The way that nature takes care of itself. And so there's energy there, right? And so that to me is like, it's very grounding. It's very focusing. It's very letting the earth's energy come through your body, sun through your head all the way. I mean, if you can just imagine, if, whoever's listening can imagine, okay, so, so come with me. You can close your eyes,
mm.
take a deep breath, and imagine a shiny, bright, white ray of sunlight. Imagine it going from the top of your head straight down through your forehead, your eyes. It passes through your mouth, your neck, your chest, stomach, through your legs, and out through your toes. And all of a sudden, this overwhelming feeling of peace, confidence just comes through you. Take a deep breath. Just those really small things that you can do on a daily basis just to connect.
Oh, that was amazing. I already feel it. And I know this part, people are just gonna like rewind and play it back. And I absolutely recommend it. If you're in your car, definitely pull over. But but rewind this, ladies, and listen to it and practice it, because that was oh
Seconds, seconds.
yes, yes. So I love ending Elevate Within episodes with something reflective. So when you think about the woman who is listening right now, the woman in the messy middle, what would you like to leave her with today?
To enjoy the journey and to know that being ambitious and being healthy can coexist.
Love that. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your story, your wisdom, and your heart with our community. I greatly appreciate you.
It's been such a pleasure, and I can't wait to meet more women and for us to have these discussions and really just elevate within.
Yes. Awesome. If you'd like to learn more about Claudia's work, connect with her, or explore whether she's the right therapist to support your journey, you'll find all of her contact information and links in the show notes. If this conversation resonates with you, you're not alone. That's exactly why this space exists. Elevate Within is for the high-achieving women in the messy middle, the space between who you were and who you're becoming. It's time to begin the process of unbecoming everything you were told you had to be, so you can become who you were always meant to be. The Architecture of Reinvention summer series officially premieres this summer, and I would love for you to join us. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube so you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to go deeper, join us on Substack at Elevate Within. There, you'll find weekly essays and honest conversations about burnout, grief, reinvention, resilience, and the messy middle. Free subscribers receive full access to all public content, while paid subscribers receive bonus essays, early access to new series, behind-the-scenes recording, and the opportunity to ask questions directly. If you know of at least one woman who needs to hear this conversation today, please share it with her. You can find me on LinkedIn under Sandra Davis, or Substack at Elevate Within, and at elevateopsadvisory.com. You'll find all those links in the show notes. Until next time, keep elevating personally, professionally, and from within. And before I go, if no one told you that they loved you today, I love you. And Claudia, I love you. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.